Sudarshan,
Yes, sir.
why are we sitting here?
We are sitting because it's like we are planning to climb Chamundi Hills every day starting April 9th for 21 days. Why 21? Don't know. It just happened to be that date and it came as a number, but 21 days, and try to intensify some of the physical well-being aspects which will act as a foundation for mental well-being and anything else above it. And yeah, that's the main intention, at least, to challenge yourself to test your extremes and see what the limits are. Also, you know that physical health is the foundation for everything that sits on top.
Like Sudarshan said, for 21 days we are going to walk Chamundi Hill steps. It's almost 4 kilometer
One way.
and is 8 kilometer both way
Mm.
and it's 1008 steps.
Mm.
And our home from Chamundi is 7-8 kilometer.
From here.
So our basic idea is
Mm.
for 21 days we will be living here together. Every morning we will wake up, we will cycle to Chamundi Hill steps, and from there we walk to Chamundi Hills Chamundi temple, come back and cycle back another 8-9 kilometer.
Mm.
And in daytime what we gonna do?
Then once you're back, of course, food is the fuel required to make all of this happen efficiently and smoothly, like the lubricating element. So the diet is also plan is to have very nutritious, rich, healthy food, which supports the body, and so you have a cohesive outcome of this entire 21-day journey, and not just look at it as doing something in the morning, but throughout the day you make sure that the day is more and more productive and conducive for the body, mind, and everything else. So yeah, some yogic practice, yogasanas, basically after we come back, have breakfast, then go for yoga classes, come back, rest and rejuvenate for a while. Again, consume food depending on the needs of the body, not because you want to have it at a particular time, but depending on what the body is asking and what the needs are. Respect the body, treat it, be grateful that it is allowing you to do this, and it is also supporting you to grow in ways which can be quite intensive for it, especially if you come from a sedentary lifestyle and you suddenly turn on the highest gear. So it is going to induce a lot of stress. So we want to kind of take care of it, and that's the reason it is a holistic plan to support it, right? And food is again not for the tongue but for the body. So 8 seconds of pleasure should not cause 8 hours of damage. That's the intention. And then come back and basically evening have listen to Gita, read scriptures, learn more about intensifying the yogic practices in whatever form, through knowledge, through practice, or through any other technique which may be conducive. So,
Few days back somebody asked me, what is your idea of self-love? Very same day I was listening to one Swamiji. Somebody asked him that I'm not able to wake up at 4 a.m. So what can I do? He shared something very beautiful. He said, you are not able to wake up at 4 a.m. because you are not a natural person anymore. For you to wake up in Brahma Muhurt, which is natural way of waking up, your whole day should be in the order. If your dincharya is good, naturally you will wake up at 4 a.m. So if you are sleeping at 12 p.m. in the night, obviously we can't wake up. So when we wake up, we should be really awake. Our body should be awake. So for me, one of the idea of doing this routine is, since last 4-5 months I'm in Mysore, and I had a certain routine which was also beautiful. I was writing a book. Now I have finished it. But when I was writing, I had to go through some extreme disciplines, like I was not sleeping at all in the night and sleeping daytime because the night hours were peaceful. But they're not really sustainable for a long period of time, because I knew that I need to do it because it is a very short term thing. But to really sustain, to really feel happy, like I really felt that a certain order is needed. So for me, the whole idea of doing it, this 21 days ritual, it's like a ritual only that bring the day in the order. And like we were listening to Bruce Lee, he said, like, if you win your morning hours,
you conquered the day.
You have conquered the day.
And it's also more about aligning your body to the natural rhythms of the universe, right? Like you wake up with the sun, you go down with the sun, and it becomes much efficient for you to function throughout when you're in sync. Of course, you can deviate a little bit here and there, but again, once you deviate, you know that there is a need for you to align.
Yes.
That very need is what drives you to be completely aligned.
How do you feel about your body right now?
Body-wise, I feel heavy. I know that if it is lighter and more active, definitely there will be a sense of vitality and more activity that it can perform, right? So there is a disconnect between the body and mind currently. Like I want to do certain things, but the body wants to sleep. I want to run a few miles, but there is ache in the body, right? So these things. So there are limitations in that form. So it would definitely be great if you have less limitations in any aspect of your life, right? So removing a fundamental limitation is definitely relieving, will be very relieving. And of late also I have a very strong need that I see that have been missing in my life from quite a few months, or I'd say 1.5 2 years, mainly because of other things that I explored doing, but it's a very strong need in me, not a desire anymore, it's a need that I need to align myself with the bigger universe or cosmic existence. So that need is what is allowing me to have these thoughts and act upon these thoughts. So it's not out of desperation or anything, but out of a sheer synchronicity between what needs to happen externally versus internally, right?
So you feel that body is fundamental for everything you
are definitely, yeah. Health, and I mean when we say health, it is about fundamentally the body. Again, only when the body is fine can you talk about mental health later. A lot of these issues I feel can just be solved with good sleep, good food, and good exercise. So once we sort these things out, then we can look at other problems.
We conduct these retreats. So we take people to the source of Ganga, and like 20 people goes, of different ages, different kind of health. So out of 20, 3-4 people will do it nicely. 10 people will struggle in the middle, and 10 people will really struggle, like they will need help. So when they return, we ask them, how was your experience? In the beginning they will say, oh, it was beautiful, because seeing the source of Ganga is extremely beautiful. It makes you forget. But when you ask them, what did you experience? So people who walked peacefully, people who did not face any physical challenge, they could observe that I could see that the size of mountain was increasing. I could see that how Ganga was turning. I saw those animals. I saw those crows. I could see where the stones were falling, which area was more peaceful. And more than that, I could see myself throughout the walk. I could see myself walking as a, like a witness. But at the same time, when you ask the people who were really struggling, people who needed support, when you ask them, what did you experience? They have no observation. Like they didn't see the mountain, they didn't see the snow-capped mountains. Even if they see, like they are looking at the mountain, that's like, when it will come, when it will come, So the whole journey they have thought about just wanting to get done with it. But when our body is healthy, that is when the journey becomes more important. Goal becomes more important when the body is not healthy. When we are not healthy, body or mind. So like that is one of the indicator. Like if you want to have a fulfilling experience, your body, your mind should not come in its way. Like how it comes in its way. For example, right now you tell me, Sachin, let's go for a 30-kilometer run. What will be my immediate answer? Is it a yes or is it a no?
For you, it may be a yes.
Right? So, like it's little extreme,
Yeah.
but it can be anything. Like you are, like it's 4 a.m. and you want to see, like you are in Sikkim, you want to see the Kanchenjunga mountain. It's really beautiful, gold lit, and you have come all the way to see the mountain. But in the morning it is cold, and you ask me, oh, let's go, but I'm so lazy, so I don't go, so I miss the experience. So whatever I desire, my body and my mind should not come in its way. For me at least, that is the idea of health. Health is not like you are able to lift 100 kilo or run 1000 kilometer. They are sports, they are not health, they are extremities. But for me, like whatever goal I have, I should not come in its way. That is health for me. And that will vary with period of time, like whatever goals I have now. So instead of focusing on big things, we should be really focusing on these very fundamental daily life, like
which
daily
build up over a
activities.
period of time and have that compounding effect. And when done consistently is when it actually shows up, and 6 months down the line you look like a superhuman. It is not because you have done something extraordinary, but daily you have been doing something which takes care of the fundamental.
Like for example, events like New Year comes and we make big resolutions that from January 1st I will do this, and 99% of the people fail, right? And we are also one of them. Why do you think we fail?
I think it is you need to do it when the need is, not when when there is a supposed to do thing, right? And the motivation has to be intrinsic, not extrinsic. You need to see the pain of not doing something for yourself. You need to see what you are missing out on, and you need to see the limited time you have here to live, and the time is only ticking. So if you have these factors in your head playing, and then you're acting as how a human should act, which is his natural tendency is to grow out of his limitations, then the need is very certain, and the need will not wait whether it is January 1st or December 31st or whatever, right? It will happen when it is needed. Suppose you are somebody who is consistently doing it, then there is no need for any resolution, right? Like, because your lifestyle itself is a resolution which acts as the basis for your well-being. So the very need for some extrinsic motivation to happen is not sustainable, because everybody else is doing, or you are supposed to do it, and that's not and you don't have a strong why. You don't know why you are doing. You know that you need to reduce weight, but reducing weight and reducing your tummy will make you feel good, look good, but it is only for some time. Then your taste buds will take over, and then you will be back to the shapeless form you were in, and then you will again go back to that cycle of gaining, losing, health, vitality, everything, and you don't know what you're doing, right? So if you understand deep down, these things are just a foundational structure for you to explore yourself more deeper, to know who you actually are, right? Those are intrinsic motivators. So you see the inevitability that if I need to construct a 3-story building, I need to have a strong foundation. So you see the inevitability of having a very strong foundation. And when your aim is to build something taller, you will make sure that your foundation is very strong. And when the need to build a tall building comes, which comes to different people at different ages, depending on how aware they are and what their needs from life and purpose are, that's when you go back to the roots and see that, hey, yeah, I have a desire to build a 3-story, 5-story, 10-story building, but my foundation is weak, right? Even if I build a 10-story on a weak foundation, it will collapse very soon. Yes, I may build it in a year, a 10-story building, but what's the point of such a building if it is going to collapse in a year, right? So I want to make sure that I build my foundation taking a year, but rather build a 10-story building which will last for 100 years, or at least till my survival, right? So I think that's why I don't believe in resolutions, because they come from outside. But if you just listen to your body and mind, everybody has a need to get better every day.
So what foundation you think you need to have for the kind of life you want to have, if you have any idea?
So I can only talk about my subjective experience, but my motivators in life are to exactly not I don't know if I can exactly know, but there is a very strong motivation to know who I really am, right? In this vast cosmos, in this existence, our existence really doesn't matter. We are like a speck of dust, but at the same time we hold so much importance to what we do. This paradoxical existence is very intriguing and very surprising, and how I landed on this planet, where I come from, where am I going, none of these are known to us. We are just handed over with few instruments, and all we can do is use those instruments and act and live accordingly. And your life can only be enriching. We are all searching only for moment to moment fulfillment in each activity, whether this activity or any other. That's at least my truth currently. So to fulfill that particular truth, that is of having contentment in life, I see the inevitability of following the laws of nature. Otherwise, the laws of nature are too huge for you to even oppose against. You can deviate a little bit, but you cannot oppose, right? You cannot go against gravity, for example. You cannot touch a live wire and expect you to be alive. You will be burned, right? So there are consequences of every action. And since contentment is your goal, you only become wise and see that there are certain actions which lead to contentment. You kind of recognize the pattern. And although these concepts are in the head, it's a very different journey to implement in your own self. There is always a gap between understanding and the real execution, right? So my intention is only to move more and more towards that synchronicity between my being and versus the ideas of a good life that I have. So in that process and in that journey, wherever it leads, I want to open and welcome that with open hands and see what life has to offer, because in my journey of exploration of whatever I have done till now, it is only that part which wanted more is what has made life more magical and interesting. Otherwise, I don't really find any strong motivation to live in this meaningless existence, right? Just going behind growth, or going behind that sense of wanting to become better than yesterday is what drives me to live well also. And that has given me, at least within the framework of this human life, what this body and mind is supposed to feel. And that if it is feeling good, then you don't complain about life. Only when you're feeling bad is when you complain, I don't have this, I want that. Then you go into that cycle of depression, anxiety and all of it. So, and nobody wants one set of negative emotions. We all are chasing one set of positive emotions, and whatever you can do to align yourself with that, it works for anybody, irrespective of where you come from, what you do, as long as you understand that these are the mechanics of life and nobody can bypass this. So you just have to surrender to that process. And
you had a health issue recently. 2-3 times you have had it. What was it? And what you felt through that time?
So there is, like, as you know, the neck and the back issue, right? So I have been doing things which should be done later. So fundamentally,
like what
my
are those
yeah
things?
my body is very stiff, right? So I can't really get into weight training and things like that as of now, because it's only going to make it more stiff. Acknowledging that, but there is a desire to also have strength and build muscles and look a certain way, because it has its own set of benefits. Every activity has its own set of merits and demerits. So I was focusing on the merits it brings, and I wanted that, and also it also brings good health and stamina and everything. I personally cannot do that. because my body and body type does not allow it to be done as of now until I fix a more fundamental problem, which I've not been attending to sincerely, but I know that it is like a ticking bomb, and when that is not there, then what about all the other desires? None exist. If I don't exist, where do the desires exist? So me being crippled is as good as me not existing, because our actions is what defines us. So if I am not able to perform any action, then what can I?
No, I have a little more basic question. Like when you were sick, when you had that neck problem, it was intense, pain, right?
Intense, yeah.
What thoughts were going in your mind? Like what were you really thinking?
Thoughts about reprioritizing things in your life. No matter what you think is extremely important in life, if you don't have health, none of those high priority items are really a priority. That pain was so intense that it kind of makes you question everything about what you have done till now and what you think you will be able to do, because dreams get shattered when you feel in that stuck position. Because let's say you're immobile, and then you are where do the dreams exist when you're immobile, right? So the thoughts were of definitely attending to that problem first before attending to anything else, and then you again get busy with the drama of life, and you get lost in the societal problems and the functioning, because you have to function in the world. So but at the same, that's the challenge, right? Like it's a challenge because that it becomes difficult. If it was easy,
don't you
it's
find
not
it as an excuse, like that we get entangled in the world?
Could be. I would not deny that,
like
because
I'm asking about you.
could be, yeah, because some of the times I am not aware of how my mind only operates. So I cannot be completely aware of how it operates. So it could use tricks, it could use excuses as reasons for me to not to commit to an action, because it sees change as a resistance and it does not want to do something new because it's very comfortable in a set routine, which is it only cares about its survivability, right? It's only looking at how can I keep this organism safe. If that part is too active, it can use abstractions in very different forms as tricks, excuses. I'm busy in something else, to convince your brain that that's not a priority.
Because what I have noticed in my life and people's life, we tend to follow patterns. For example, I had an uncle who had piles 10 times. 10 times he was operated. It's a horrible disease. Because he would consume all the hot stuff. Like he would smoke a lot, he would drink a lot of chai, and he would eat very spicy food. Whatever the doctor told him to do, he will do the opposite. And again, when he is having the surgery, he will make promises that I will never do this again, I will have a healthy life. But he will end up doing the same thing. Same thing when we are in relationships. We go through a lot of shit, a lot of pain. The relationship breaks, we blame the person, and then we go into a new relationship. We do the same things, same result happen, and then people say that how come with all the people I go, the result is the same? With whatever relationship I am in, it leads to pain. Basically, what they are doing is people have changed, but as an individual, my patterns have not changed. And instead of seeing that, I put the blame on the external. It can be a person, or it can be that situation, what we call societal pressure or anything. So do you feel that happens in your life? Because in my life it happens for sure. Like most of the time, whatever sufferings I have had, either it is in terms of physical suffering or mental suffering, it is because I choose to ignore the patterns. I choose to ignore the habits. That I choose to accept that I'm slave of my habits. And because I'm not accepting it, I'm not making an effort to reframe it or like to restart again. How do you feel about that?
Sure. Yeah, I think it's very relatable, because first is patterns dictate our lives, and patterns are like some of it is genetic. Some of us have some issues which are very genetical, but only when you're aware of it can you override them. So awareness is the key. So the point of awareness is to let you know that there is a problem here. Then after you recognize the problem, now it's your choice to either act on it or ignore it, right? Most of us choose to, we don't want to confront the problem because now there is a lot of effort involved, because we know there is a dirty room. I don't want to even enter the room because I know if I enter I need to end up cleaning it. So what I do is just close the door, shut it, and move around in different places. But deep down in my background, I know there is a pending work I need to do. Just because I'm not attending to it doesn't mean it gets solved, right? Like there has to be somebody who needs to go for it and solve it. And the worst part is it only gets worse. It only gets even more worse over time, and we feel that by ignoring it will eventually go away, but the reality is it will get worse. So once you see that this pattern, me escaping from a pattern, is going to create a deeper problem than solving it. And once you see it in real, for real, and for you to see it for real, you need to experience the pain, right? Like no book or nobody can teach you. You need to make this mistake of, experiencing the pain and all of it. So once that happens, of course, you see the pattern, then you expect the issue to be something else, and then the analysis of the problem. You expect it was caused because of that, and then you start a blame game. This again distracting from the actual problem to be solved, because the mind is not wanting to solve a problem. It will, even though you have addressed and seen it, it is now finding blame as an excuse. So it can have many different layers as excuses, right? One is blame, one is regret, one is just fear of avoidance, and so many. We all know the tricks. But again, to know the tricks, you need to kind of go through the pain. So that's like a paradox. But so once you see it, and then you see the inevitability of your life not going ahead because of that problem, and you see the logical contradiction that exists there, then as a rational human, the first thing you need to do is basically give more attention to that problem, stay with the problem. Then you can exactly reason out, analyze what was the cause of this problem, how did it get created, and then you can have a map to solve that problem. Then you break that problem into manageable chunks, and then also have a realistic expectation that this problem is going to stay for a while. It is not going to go in tomorrow or a week. I'll have a course correction action, and then which I'll be applying consistently. It's like a plant which needs water every day, right? So you can't expect it to grow into a tree the very next week or something. So once that happens is when you can come out of the problem, and then only that experience makes you realize that when you see a pattern next time, you will not delay, you will not procrastinate, because you know that any delay is only going to cause more delay. It is only going to exponentially increase and going to hinder a lot of other valuable, rich experiences life can offer. So why these patterns exist, that is out of the scope of what we can only see that there is a problem and there is a solution, and this is the path to the solution. So I have had like a ton of these things, and I still deal with these problems even today, because just knowing does not help. Acting is the only thing that helps, and despite acting, new problems come in different forms. So they get more complex and more abstract as you have more exposure to the world and the patterns of the mind and everything. So I also procrastinate, I do all of it, but deep down there always is a time when I take action. It may be delayed, but I like to take intense action to burn it all very quickly, right? Because like a rocket, you need a lot of thrust for it to fly initially, and then once it is solved, then you kind of fly, glide and all of it. So the imagination is, when we are trying to solve a problem, it feels very difficult and very painful. And the projection of the mind is, it is always going to be this painful forever from now on, which is a false assumption.
Yes.
The assumption is false. So if you can see that, then you will see that the hard part is actually just the initial part, like the first 5 days or the first 1 week or 1 month. It's a very short period compared to the existence we have and our lifelong commitments of goals we have, right? So it only is a very short sprint of pain you will have. And then that converts into exorbitant amounts of pleasure, exorbitant amounts of ecstasy, or whatever that pleasant set of feelings are. Then you don't need anybody to tell you that you need to do it, because it is already giving you that pleasant experience, and you are always chasing contentment. So your brain already in autopilot goes towards those experiences. So And similarly with everything we do, right? Like you should know the pain of eating junk food and the benefits of eating healthy food. Then you see how well it acts in the body. If you are not aware after you eat healthy food or any kind of food, how will you be able to differentiate which is good? So
it all basically jots down to what kind of life you want to have. And if you know that this is a life you want to have, like first of all, like I need to ask that question, that this is the life I want to have. And once you have asked this question, and once you've gotten a certain answer, that it kind of becomes my fundamental responsibility to do it. Because if I don't do it, then in a way I'm a criminal, I'm a criminal to myself. And we talk about these things, that love, friendship, having a smooth things with the world. But that can only happen when, again, it all comes down to if I am healthy. Like if I am taking responsibility of myself, if I am having that self-love, which is the daily discipline, that this promise I'm making myself today, they don't have to be very, very big promises. But these 3 promises I make to myself, whatever they can be those smallest steps. Like for example, I take these long walks. Like if you see now, so you are sitting that you are going to walk 5,000 kilometers. It sounds so big, and it is actually very big. How do you do it then? You simply wake up in the morning, you start walking. By the time sun comes, you already walk for 5 kilometers. Then somebody has invited you for tea. Then you rest. Then your walk begins again. So you're not walking 5,000 kilometers. You're walking like 5 kilometers, or sometimes 1 kilometer, sometimes 100 meters. Like again, like we were listening to Bruce Lee, he was saying this beautiful thing, that every day your body is going to react differently. Someday it is going to feel extremely active, very inspired, want to do so many things. Someday it doesn't want to do anything, And then he says, like, learn to move along those rigidities
and flow like water.
Like in the beginning, you don't fight the hard things that are difficult to change. In the beginning, you find things that you can change, because when change happens, it motivates us. When you realize a little bit thing, when you are able to, let's say, go in the position of a plank. Imagine you had never done the plank in your life, but today you are able to do plank for 3 seconds, or simply go in that position. So there is already transformation happening. But what usually happen is, the moment I come in the plank, I want to take a photo of it and post like Bruce Lee did. And when the comparison happens, second day we try to act like Bruce Lee, like you said, then we forget that what is my need. Usually the resolutions comes from comparison, because everybody else is doing, I will also do. But when you do something need based, then your actions are very humble and respectful, and they are daily.
Yeah, totally. I think, as you said, it mainly depends on how do you see life, what is your role here, and what do you want from it. Fundamentally, if these things are if you ask yourself, everybody has to ask oneself, nobody can follow somebody's purpose or need and all of it. So if it is asked, and then then of course the needs are seen. We never shy from eating food when we are hungry, right? Because we know it's a very real need. But we may shy away from bathing and doing some other chores and everything. But excretion and consumption, these are inevitable. You cannot hold controlling your urine. Even if there is an earthquake, you will be. I mean, literally also you will. But I think.
And also, like, greatest things are achieved by certain discipline only, For example, I will again come back to my book. I was writing this book, 5-6 years I've been contemplating about it. And, but it happened when I made a very sincere choice that no matter what happened, every night I'm going to stay and I will not sleep until I write 2 pages. Some days the whole night will go and it will be 6 a.m. and I have not written a word. But I will not give up. You know? It was more like a fight, but eventually, like you said, in the beginning, you might have to act like a rocket at times. It's not very sustainable, but sometimes you have to try little hard because the habits we have accumulated, these are decades of old habits. They will not simply go in 3 days. You know, if you have built a very strong house, it won't break with single thing. You need to bring bulldozers. And bulldozers are powerful machine. So what discipline does is, like a push of bulldozer is equal to like 3 years of discipline. So to gain the power of that bulldozer, I need to have that 3-4 years of discipline to actually break the wall. But if I think in 3 days I can be like bulldozer, that won't happen.
That won't happen. It also reminds me of this thing, right? When we think about changing habits, let's say we are not doing anything, right? And we assume that we are not taking any action. But being idle is also a form of action, right? So that itself is forming into a habit. That you are not taking action, or you are not being active, or you are not acting on the things you are doing. So subconsciously, it is impossible for you to not do anything. Like when you are alive, when you are breathing, you are at least breathing, you are at least alive. So the reason it becomes very hard to change a habit is because we assume that nothing existed and I am building something. No, the opposite of what you want existed. And it is only going stronger and stronger every single day, because subconsciously, for reasons of procrastination, fear or self-doubt or whatever, you are feeding it, and you are feeding that monster, and that monster is getting big, and that's the reason each day looks like, can I even make it, right? If not today, next year also, if you're still stuck in the same problem, that problem still looks bigger, because this habit has gotten bigger. The negative habits have gotten bigger. It's not like there is a neutral state you're in, right? You're either moving towards the positive or towards the negative. It is always like flowing. So I think, that's the reason why if we see this pattern, then we feel any delay is only my self-harm, self-sabotaging.
Because at the end of the day, it is a machine. If you don't use it, it will degrade. Right? But the moment you use, it will work properly. Like its functioning will increase. At the same time, the movement, basically you are moving. You are moving further only, right? You don't move backwards. You never move backwards. The moment you are moving, you are actually going towards your goal. But if you are simply letting it stay, the engine will rust, then the body, then everything will fail.
One by one.
And then
and these systems are all interlinked, just like any machine, right? Like even the failure of a single nut can cause a major complex design to fail. So we think, what can just a nut do? Right? But nut is holding every single thing over there, and a simple miscalculation in the strength it needed or whatever, right? So similarly, I think some beliefs that we have in our head, if it breaks, which is the fundamental, then everything that we have built around it will break. So very important to be considerate about what we hold is true, if it is real or not, because if it is unreal, it is going to break at some point. And that's the reason I feel the natural search for truth is, because as a organism, it looks for sustained living with stability as the base foundation, because with a strong base can you dance well. If when I'm dancing on the floor and the floor cracks, like I will not even attempt to dance next time out of the fear of me falling again, right? So I think these beliefs in the head and in the body, like a small joint or something, it can be the cause of eternal pain tomorrow, like a fracture or something can be the cause of eternal pain, and that small pain can hinder every single thing that you wanted to do. Although it looks like a small pain, it is withholding a powerful machine from acting in its complete potential. So that's such a misfortune, right? Like when small things hold you up,
So you are going, we both are going on this 21-day journey. How do you feel about it?
Actually, I like when we spoke also, right? Like the very thought of it, like, was very exciting for some reason. Maybe because there was intentions of doing it a couple of months or years back, and uh, I didn't see it getting into fruition. So it is again like, oh, you have another desire which is not getting fulfilled. So unfulfilled desire is causing you misery. So and at the same time, uh, I also, there is a need currently in my current life, the state I am in, to propel. It needs greater thrust for it. So taking on something which looks a little intimidating is the thing I want.
Why it is intimidating?
Intimidating because of the previous issues I've had with my body. So there is a subtle fear that if you, because I'm somebody who operates at extremes, some extremes, either 0 or 1, and I know that I need to always calibrate and find a balance point, but that's a work in progress. But so I feel that, again, you're stretching it a little too much, but what if this 21 days, in the 21 days, there is something you overdo and the body kind of fails. So there is a slight resistance in terms of fear over there, that then you are going to sabotage another 10-20 days of recovery, and then it is going to hit your confidence also, right? Like it will be like, oh, you have still not find your calibration point, you're still operating in 0 and 1, either you are doing full exercise or not doing, then the mind has its own patterns of beliefs, doubts, which will creep in to prevent you from taking a harder challenge next time. So that one, apart from that one concern, I don't think there is anything else, because body is my main concern. Mind, I know I can keep it aside. It can, fairly to some extent, but in my particular case, it is the body.
So you're going to do a physical activity and the body is a challenge?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good...
Yeah. So I think, before prepping, some form of awareness of how I'm moving while I'm climbing, just not to be over cautious, but just to align the natural movements and not make something stupid, right, basically.
Yes.
So I think if that is taken care of, I think it is designed to move, it is designed to walk, it is designed to function, and it will only be grateful that you're doing it. Ideally, that is what the body should be telling you, if you do it right, I feel. But yeah, I mean, at the same time, I'm not thinking too much about it, but because if it has to happen, then we'll deal with it when it happens.
So you have very different goals, like you fly drones, you ride very fast cars, and you have very beautiful dreams also, like whatever we have discussed. I have always liked that. So how does this 21 days fit into that? Because in a way, if you look from a very layman perspective, it is not going to give you anything tangible towards
my bigger goals. Yes.
So how do you feel that, how they fit?
Again, all those goals can only be achieved, again, it comes back to the foundational things, right? So indirectly, actually, those goals become easier to achieve by doing this, but we don't see a natural output right here in terms of, it is not converting into that. But it is like, let's say you have a stronger willpower, because doing this requires some amount of mental grit. It also breaks your belief that your body can only do this much. So it is going to add to you in things which are not immediately evident, but it is going to be evident only after you do it. So you cannot assume that, after this I'm going to feel confident. So I can feel that confidence right now. You're assuming confidence, you're not feeling confident. You're assuming strength, you're not feeling strength, right? That's the mistake the mind makes, right? Like the difference between reality and imagination. It imagines that I am that, but you're not that. So I think, I'm sure, I just don't think, I'm sure that when this is completed, there will be many more things apart from the ones that I told also, very subtle changes, very subtle things which would have shifted inside, which will translate into every aspect of life, not just my work, but relationships, health, how I look at life, what I want from my life, my own path. how to thread, I have a direction to go, but of course in that direction there will be resistances, there will be challenges that will come. So navigating those challenges will become definitely easier, because at the core, now your belief is, yeah, I can do anything as long as I put my mind and energy to it. So when that belief strengthens, then any other task is just any other task. It just depends on which task you prefer to do, right? So intangible, tangible effects are definitely going to be seen, but those are known motivators that will happen. And again, it is not like you do this for 21 days and then you leave it, right? Because if you do that, it is going to be like anything else. Then you see the bud coming, you see it's a small seed right now, and then you see the bud coming out, and you also see a small plant in 21 days. But then your expectation was a fruit from this tree, right? So you need to know that fruit takes long. You cannot.
You need to make it a tree.
You need to make it a tree.
Sprouting is not enough.
Correct. Sprouting is not enough. So this is only for when it is a small plant, is when you need to put a cage around it so that goats don't eat it, and it needs a good amount of care and nurture and everything. But after that, it's in your day-to-day things that you do, right? Like 21 days is not going to change your life, but 21 days is going to act as a starting point to change your life. So 21 days or 14 days or whatever suits anybody, right? So in that sense, I feel consistency is the key. Like this is the law of nature, right? Like this is not my thing or your thing or anybody else's telling, right? Like you see anything that is manifesting in nature, it is over a repeated period of time that things happen. Like water, although is like water, it repeatedly puts rocks under pressure, and that's when cracks are formed and it cuts rocks. So water cuts rocks, not anything else, right? Like how something as gentle as water, which you cannot even hold, imagine it cutting a rock, right? Or a mountain or something like that. So that's the power consistency holds. So even we are aware of we all have heard the hare and rabbit story, right? Back then it felt like, yeah, the rabbit is faster, it's cool, it's nice, and the hare is like, look at that, the tortoise is so slow, and I would not want to be a tortoise. But the essence was, if you exhaust your limited energy in a short period of time, this life is not a sprint, right? It's a marathon. So although you can run sometimes, you need to consciously cut down on that energy, knowing that it's a very big game that you're playing, right? And for that big game to be played, you need to channelize and allocate energy depending on how it is going to be in the future, not how you're just feeling right now. Now you may have the energy to even run, let's say 20 kilometers, but will you is the question, right? You should not is the answer. Your body may tell, your mind may get a little greedy and say, hey, just do it off, and but 3-4 days later, you will fail. And then somebody who has been just walking 5 kilometers every day eventually will cover 500 kilometers, 5,000 kilometers.
But this story also tells another beautiful thing, that a tortoise is a tortoise and a rabbit is a rabbit. So this comparison that tortoise should be going like rabbit, that really creates a problem in our life. Because when we look at someone like Virat Kohli, oh, he's so fit, and we start having these big idols, that's beautiful. But we forget that right now Virat Kohli is a big international star, he's like epitome of fitness, right? But he started his journey back then when he was 9-10 year old. So to achieve that, he has gone through that 20 years of discipline and a sheer discipline, where he has failed at times, but he has come back. So if I am going to expect in 1 year I will be like Virat Kohli, like I am doing some utter stupidity, right? So if to have a goal like Virat Kohli is beautiful, but what is that smallest action I can make today? Like what I can make, not what Virat Kohli is doing. That I should be careful about. And like when we say that this 21 days, for example, this is one step you are taking. you gave a beautiful example of tree. Like when tree is a seed, it needs a different kind of nourishment. It needs a different kind of discipline. Like it needs to be kept in the earth, and then it needs to be water for it to soften. The moment it sprouts, the discipline around change, right?
Yeah.
Then you are not going to put it into another earth, because
That
then
is
your
done.
action changes.
Yes.
Right? Because the need is different. Need is what? Now it should be protected from the external forces. So you put a fence, the amount of water you put also changes. Then it becomes little more. Then its need changes. So your discipline also changes, right? So when it becomes a tree, again then you need to give something else. But when that can happen, it can only happen when I go into the earth, when I travel the journey from seed to the sprouting, and then sprouting to the plant, then plant to a tree to a mango tree or jackfruit tree. So it is my duty to see what I am. I'm a seed, I'm a sprout, or I'm a plant. And then I take the journey from there onwards. Like I don't compare myself. If I say that, oh, tomorrow I want to ride like you, I will kill 100 people and I will kill myself. Right?
Yeah, that's very true. We always make this comparison, right? Comparison is the thief here. That I may be still a plant, but I look like when I look at Virat Kohli or I look at Max Verstappen, they are the trees who have had very strong roots. And they had planted it long back. For some reason, you have planted it recently. So you need to acknowledge the disparity in time here and the amount of effort that has gone. And you may as well want to become a tree.
And you will
become a tree only if you take care of the plant now. Not act like you are a tree and take care of the needs of the tree, right? Otherwise, you're going to be disappointed. You're actually going to be left with a cutout plant if you actually do that, because you're going to attend to different needs when the needs of the current state were different.
One of the reasons we fail in life is we get inspired by someone, which is very beautiful. But we start acting like them without becoming them, Like we become like a copycat. And copy is eventually going to fail. The original can only sustain. And for originality to happen, that long period of sustainable discipline is needed. And discipline can never be blind. It is always based on the need. Like awareness is nothing but knowing the need. Right? What do I need? Like this is my goal. Right now, where do I stand? And right now, to get out of this, I need to do this. I am dirty. I need to take shower. I have taken the shower. Now I need to wear clean clothes. Okay, I want the clean cloth. Now I need to get some sunlight. So if you simply start not having really big goals and simply start following in what is the need of the hour, and then keeping the goal in the background always, then something really beautiful can happen in our life. But if I just go haywire, 20 days I do something crazy, and then we become like mad people, there's like, that is madness. Then frustration is inevitable. And then you wonder, why are you unfulfilled in life? Why are you frustrated? Why do you have anxiety? Because you are not abiding the fundamental laws which exist, and that is the only way to fulfillment. So how do you see this journey? So since you walk a lot, and this is not a challenge in walking as such, right? Because so for me, walking is not a challenge, but still, like I told you 3-4 weeks back, I had this thought, but I didn't do it. Actually, let's say I couldn't do it. Why? Like walking is not a challenge. The moment I go to the footsteps, I can go running and come back, and I can do it 3 times. But going from here to footsteps is a very big challenge for me. It's like climbing an Everest for me. That is a fact. I would have done it, no, but I'm not. I was not able to do it. That is also a fact. So that I want to change in my life. That is one thing. And second is 4 or 5 months I'm here in Mysore, but I felt that I have not climbed the mountain enough. Not because I want something from the mountain. Like whenever I have gone to the mountain, I had certain realizations, not in the miraculous sense, the basic understandings, those basic things that you need to take a shower, like those kind of understanding, that you need to think this way and not that way. Not that I am elevated or something. So each time I go there, like in walking those footsteps, and sometime when you sit and simply caressing a dog, or simply when you see a beggar or some woman, like somehow because I am really present there in the walk, it naturally happen, because there is no resistance in that walking for me. Somehow something beautiful comes up, like I get a great lesson from the random people, like which I don't see in the mundane life. But whenever I'm in a certain walk, in a certain journey, somehow the mindset becomes like that. I would like to have that mindset all the time, but because it is not there right now, so I want to do that 21 days walk when I'm here at least. So I want to spend little more time with the mountain, with that feeling of kind of not being anybody, and just there was this great guru like Dattatreya, right? So they say he had 24 gurus. He had those gurus in forms of snakes, prostitute, or earth, sky. Like I really resonate with that person. Like it gives me like tears of joys. I kind of want to not become him, but like kind of become like him, like somebody who has that humility to bow down. And whenever I go to that mountain, I'm kind of reminded of that feeling. Same thing is with the river, or like I never go inside the temple because the whole mountain feels like a temple. Like temple is a place where you are made to see not your greatnesses but your limitations. That because every time you see a limitation, you have a new journey to take, right? And then the more the limitation you take, more are the journeys, and the more the journeys, the more the adventure is, the more the plays,
more the experience, more the learnings, and
like life becomes
enriching.
So each time I go, like I feel that mountain gives you a lot of nourishment. So I want to do it.
Do you see this is any different from the walks you do, or anything different here?
Definitely it is different, because you're walking the same stairs every day.
Correct.
Long back I read a story about somebody. So there were two brothers, they were twins. One went on a ship in search of gold or something. He wanted to travel. 30 years he traveled to 100 countries, came back with lots of experiences, and he told the stories of all the interesting all interesting places he saw, all the interesting people he met. And then he had another brother, like who never went anywhere, He was a tailor and he used to walk. His shop was in the end of the street. So he would walk the 2-kilometer street and come back. Morning he will go, evening he will come. Sometimes if he is sick or something, he will come early. 30 years he followed the same street. So his brother was telling him that how I have traveled. This guy didn't say anything. So one day he took him to the shop. After going to the shop, the tailor asked the traveler, so what did you see? Nothing, just shops and all. Okay. Then he said, what did you see? Then he said there are 128 shops in the street. The first shop, that lady has lost her husband, she has 4 children. Her 4 children are doing this, and she had that problem, how she overcome that. The second shop, he's a barber. One day he cut the throat of a king, and that day someone came to attack him, but because his throat was injured, he was shifted, so his life was saved. Likewise, he told the stories of all the 128 shops. So who had the more experience, the kind of intimate details that Taylor had. So it's not really how far you go. It's like with how intimately, how observant, how aware you go. It's not in the number of miles you travel. I'm saying it based on actual experience. I have actually traveled thousands of miles in different, like on cycle, in walking, and through transport also at times. The most fulfilled I have felt is when I'm not moving, to be honest. At the same time, I understand that for me to arrive at this position in life, to acknowledge that, I would not have acknowledged it
unless
I had that. But in a crux, that idea is that everybody has to go through their own journey. Like there should not be any comparison. Like what I need to do, I need to do. Just because everyone else is doing it, I should not be doing it. And just because everyone is doing it, it doesn't mean that I don't do it. Both way. At the same time, like I came to Mysore, stopping my walk. I walked Yamuna, and then I stopped. Because for me, right now, I'm in a position of my life in such a way that my fight is with myself. It's not a fight actually. I don't call it fight anymore. Like my journey is my own understanding. Last year I made a vow that I'm going to walk. Then I walked 2000 kilometers. Then I took a pause because I felt that if I continue walking, I'm not doing the justice to the walk. Why? Because I felt that I need to learn something. I really need to certain things. Like I really need to learn certain things. If I don't learn it, my journey will be useless. I really felt that deep down. At the same time, I also felt that there's a project pending, which was my book. If I don't finish this book, again it will come in the way of my journey. Because when I was walking, it was coming in my way. Sachin, you have not finished your past. So when your past is there, you can't live in the present. At the same time, when you are not aware of what you need, then also you can't live in the present. So I see it like that way. That I will do what needs to be done. If it requires 1 million miles of walking, I will walk 1 million walk. But if I am about to reach the destination and then say, now Sachin, stop, I will stop. It's that simple. because it is not there to write in the Guinness book. It's useless piece of paper. Actually, it is useless. How it is going to change your life? It is not going to change my life in any way. But if I realize that Sachin, now you're thirsty and you drink this water, that will change your life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, when you said about Guinness record also, when you hold such records, somebody else is feeling the need to just beat the record, not knowing what his capabilities or boundaries are.
Yes.
And somebody who is holding the record, he is having the fear of losing that record.
Yes.
It's serving nobody, right? You're just proving that I can do this, but again, yeah, that's how it functions. But there is of course merit in breaking boundaries and
my
my
boundaries.
not somebody else. Exactly.
It's
Because
like-
my life is very subjective and I come with my own set of limitations. My only question should be, am I exercising or am I acting to my full potential,
Yes.
not his full potential? My full potential may be to probably just walk 10 kilometers a day.
Yes.
Somebody else's potential may be to walk 50 kilometers a day.
Yes.
But if the guy who can walk 50 kilometers only walks 10 kilometers, he's going to be miserable. And the guy who walks 10 kilometers walks 1 kilometer, he's going to be equally miserable.
Yes.
So it's only a matter of subjective capacity. Yes.
So like somebody, some saint was asked this question, that how to evolve spiritually, like how to evolve in a spiritual life. He gave this very beautiful answer. I really resonated with it. He said, today you have 10 rupees. Invest those 10 rupees. Don't invest 9. Don't invest 11 also. But make sure you invest 10. There is a fundamental surety that tomorrow it will become 11 or 12 or sometime it will become 12, 20 also, but 11 or 10.1 it will become for sure. If you are using your mind, your awareness, 10 means like using your mind, using your body, using whatever possible resource you have with full capacity. The moment you are going to do it, the result is going to be compounding. There will be some plus. And then tomorrow when you have 10.1 or when you have 11, then don't invest 10, then invest 11. So basically today what you have, don't give less than that. When it comes to making a physical effort, you are doing a physical exercise, you are lifting weight, your capability is 10, don't lift 9.9. For 3-4 days simply lift 10. But because you have become so habitual of lifting 10, you have become friend with 10, 11 will not intimidate you on the 4th day. Naturally it will not intimidate. But the moment you will go to 9, then 11 will be more intimidating. So our only concern should be like that. That I'm saying simply purely from my very intimate experience. My only concern should be whatever I have, I am giving it for the day. Less than that, I should not be giving. That's it. Like it jots down to that basic thing.
Just that basic, yeah. Tomorrow I'll think about tomorrow, not today.
Yes.
It's it's a very simple way to live, but inevitably we make it very complex, and then find solutions through other methods.
Yes.
But you're not fixing the root problem. So.
You want to build a house, you have to start saving little by little. Right now, what you can save now. 3 years later, you will have increment in your job or in your salary. Obviously, your saving will increase. But if you think that I will save when I have more money, it is never going to happen.
It's an infinite loop. Yeah.
Correct. So, what step I can take today is my only concern. So, this 21 days is also part of that for me.
Yeah.
These 21 todays.
Yeah.
And Chamundi is there,
Yeah.
mountain is there, you
Yeah.
are there and there.
And it's a nice journey, no? Like,
Yes.
like doing anything like that makes you feel good end of the day. So it's a win-win basically. Okay.